What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Donutman, the show where we cook things, usually things that are high in protein, but if not, they're at least going to be somewhat healthy. Today, we'll be making some Ahi Tuna Burgers, so we're going to get right into that. Go grab our sushi grade Ahi Tuna or yellowfin tuna, and we're going to bring that over and lay that out on some paper towels to get the excess juices off of it. So I went ahead and dried off the outside of the tuna, and now I'm going to finely dice the tuna into small pieces. The big trick with this is to use a nice sharp knife and let the knife do the work. Don't go sawing at your tuna. You're going to end up with a big mash of disgusting tuna. Instead, you want to do this in nice smooth slices. Once we're done slicing, we're going to move right into dicing. Now, for some of these cuts, you are going to be going with the grain, which makes it a little bit harder to cut it. However, just do your best. Focus more on slicing than chopping. Be as nice and clean as you can. Let the knife do the work. Don't apply too much pressure. You get used to it as you go. It's actually fairly easy. But dice up all that 1 pound of tuna and set that off into a bowl on the side until we're ready to mix up our patties. Alright, so once we are done with our tuna, we're going to move on to a red bell pepper, which we need finely diced. We need about 1/4 cup of this. Now, I'm not going to be too particular in measuring. I'm just going to cut off what I think is right, which turned out to be about 2 pieces this size. I went in and I finely diced that, so you could follow along on doing that also. And after chopping our red bell pepper, we're going to move on to some green onions. 3 of them to be exact. We're going to chop these up and set them off to the side to be mixed into our patties. Now we could set the board off to the side. We're going to grab a small bowl where we are going to beat 1 egg into and then add it into a larger mixing bowl. Next, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil, about 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Then we're just going to mix this together until it's nice and well incorporated, or, my favorite word, homogeneous. Now we're going to go ahead and add in our finely diced tuna. Followed by our red pepper. And finally, our green onions. And then we're just going to gently mix this together until it's all well incorporated and our sauces are all distributed over our tuna and our veggies. And after about a minute of mixing, we're going to add in panko breadcrumbs, which we're going to mix once again gently, just so that we could get everything nice and bound together with the use of the breadcrumbs. Now, I went ahead and I grabbed a second plastic cutting board, which I'm going to use as a platter. Really, you just need a platter for you to put your formed patties on and store them in the fridge for a little bit. Now, you're supposed to distribute into 4 roughly even patties. However, I knew that I was cooking for 3, so my 4th patty could lack a little bit, and I wanted my first 3 patties to be nice and thick. I'm using a silicone egg ring here to get it nice and shaped. However, I usually do this by hand, and I would just do it that way instead. Now that I have my 4 patties formed, I'm going to take this, toss it in the fridge, wash my hands, clean up my workstation, and get to making my sauce while these patties get nice and firm inside the refrigerator. Alright, we're back and I have 4 green onions on the grill here. I'm using a simple tabletop grill. However, you can use an outdoor grill or even just a cast iron pan over the stove top. I opted for this because, well, I'm going to use it for everything and it's the easiest to record. So once these green onions are grilled up a little bit, they're nice and soft, about 2 minutes on each side. I'm going to pull those off and I'm going to start chopping these up. And once they're nice and chopped up, I'm going to take them and toss them in a clean mixing bowl that we're going to use to make our sauce. Now the next thing in my sauce was about a half a cup of mayonnaise, about a quarter of a cup of sour cream, roughly 3/4 of a tablespoon of sriracha sauce, approximately 1 teaspoon of lemon juice that I didn't even bother measuring because I love lemon anyway. And finally, an unmeasured, but also around 1 teaspoon of honey. And then we're going to go ahead and mix this until also homogeneous. Oh, and don't forget salt and pepper. Once we're done mixing, we're going to set this in the fridge and bring our patties back. Well, not only do we have our patties back, but the grill is also back, and we're going to toss our hamburger buns on top of here. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to find my spray butter at first, so I just tossed them on there to get some grill marks. I later found my spray butter, sprayed down the buns, and tossed them back on top. Now, if you're not watching your calories, you could lather these with some melted butter instead. However, I didn't want those extra calories, so I was waiting until I found my 0-calorie spray butter. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm using brioche buns with sesame seeds. Sesame seeds are very important. Don't forget those sesame seeds. Alright, so now we are back with our toasted buns. We're going to assemble this with our sauce. Starting off with sauce on the bottom. Now, once these are constructed, we do not want them to be pulled apart again, so we're going to put quite a bit of sauce, so nobody needs to add more in the end. After putting our sauce on the bottom of the bun, we're going to add lettuce to each bun, which we're going to break to fit beautifully. Next, we're going to do some tomatoes. Now, I prefer to slice mine thinly because I don't want the excess bulk or the excess water when you bite into it. A little bit of salt and pepper on top of each tomato, followed by another layer of our spicy sriracha mayo sauce. And then we are going to set this off to the side and grab our grill. Alright, our grill is already piping hot. We're going to add our patties directly onto here and sear them for roughly 3 minutes on each side, which will hopefully give us a perfect medium rare cook throughout the whole entire patty. Now don't forget a little bit of salt and pepper. And after 3 minutes on one side, it is ready to flip. Now, the results of using that silicone egg ring did not turn out too well. As you could see, the patties were not packed that tight. Would have been better to do it by hand. They probably would not have fell apart this way. And after cooking for another around 3 minutes, take the patties, put them right on top of the tomato, and then we're going to add more sauce. Now, you could choose to add sauce either to the top of the bun or right to the patty. I did it to the patty. However, looking back, I would have just added the sauce to the top bun right as I was dressing the rest of the burger before. So all that I would have had to do was toss the patties on there, shut the burgers, and I would have been done. And there you guys have it, 4 beautiful Ahi Tuna Burgers. We're going to cut this one open, see what it looks like inside. And as you can see, it is falling apart. I would absolutely recommend molding your patties by hand rather than trying to use some kind of mold. But now guys, it is time for a taste test. So let's dig in. These burgers are absolutely amazing, super healthy. I would definitely recommend them. And that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Make sure to leave a like below, comment what you'd like to see next, and subscribe for more Cooking with Donutman videos.